Hey guys, if you've been following DragonHeir Silent Gods, it's a very, very promising game, and there are two things for today to cover. The first thing is there is going to be a closed beta test 2 starting very, very soon. If you wish to join, you just need to pre-register to enter for a chance, so it's not guaranteed. And this pre-register window does close on the 21st of May, so you only have about 4 days left, including today. So definitely pre-register if you want to sign up and have a chance to play in closed beta test 2. Additionally, there was a little game on their Discord kind of revealing the likely date of closed beta test 2, and that should be the 24th. So that is only about a week away. So yeah, definitely sign up if you haven't already, and fingers crossed that you guys get in. Hopefully I'll see a bunch of you guys in the game very, very soon. I've been playing it quite a bit in the last test, and I've had some other insights into the game recently that I can't talk about, but I have to tell you, it is actually really, really fun, and I have been pleasantly surprised in a whole number of ways. And yeah, I think this game is going to be huge. I really do think it's going to do very, very well. They've just got their design philosophy together. There's some really good stuff already in the game. But anyway, I can't get into that too much, so I won't. But there is another massive announcement which just hit their official Discord. And let me just pull up the notes and we'll talk over it. But basically there's some closed beta test 2 information about how the game actually works. Okay, so I've pulled up the Discord notice. This is on the official DragonHeir Silent Gods Discord, and this is in the CBT2 news channel, so the closed beta test 2 news. And yeah, there's a lot of information in here, and we're going to go over it line by line, and I'll give you my thoughts on it and what I think it means for the game. So starting off, there's a preview of new features, multiverse through passing seasons. Now this is basically the bulk of this announcement, seasons. The game will be seasonal. If you've played Diablo in the past, if you've played Path of Exile, it's going more that way, which I think is really brave. First thing, I think is a very brave move, because obviously most gacha games are not rolling seasonal. They are just a thing you play into infinity and you just progress your account. So obviously the most important question that raises is, what are seasons, especially in the context of this game, as every game will do it differently. The answer they give, much like when you're running around adventuring, we want to keep your experiences in the campaign of DragonHeir fresh and varied, including ever-changing plots, environments. Seasons are episodic experiences, each one offering players something complete and fresh. So they're making it very clear that they want each season to feature new gameplay, new stories, new modes. They want to make the game fresh with each season, which I think is actually a very clever move, because these games, as you well know, get very stale very quickly. You're kind of just grinding for the same thing day in, day out for marginal gains. So how are they planning to accomplish that? Well, a season will initially run for 12 to 14 weeks, so about 3 months, kind of matching real-world seasons. Other seasons will see inclusions of the following: new narrative content, such as new maps, new stories, new bosses, all new heroes and new populations, so I'm guessing on the world, new heroes, new characters in the world, new collaborations, so we'll be gradually introducing licensed D&D crossovers with Drizzt, Elminster, and other heroes who are visiting DragonHeir, so probably Minsk and Boo. Combat companions, players from other planes, can join your adventure of the new season and aid you in your crusade against an ancient boss or compete for glory in the arena. I'm kind of curious about some of the wording, especially in this one, but we'll go over my speculation after I've read through the notes. So reroll: a Herculean strongman with all points in strength can become a wizened scholar with significant intelligence. Elemental affinity rotation: affinities among elements can change between seasons. For example, in season 0, ice and poison may have an affinity, but come season 1, ice might have an affinity with necrosis. It will impact combat strategy dramatically. And resetting game resources: the reset is to ensure gameplay doesn't become stale. Once the season is closed and totaled up, everyone will have received a boatload of goodies. That includes limited and exclusive rewards. See question 2 for more information. So there are 4 questions. I'm going to go through the first question because I can't hold myself back. And I'm going to speculate on what this means and what I hope it means. So first up, we have new narrative content, new maps, new stories, new bosses, all that kind of new stuff. This is obviously how they're going to try to keep the seasons fresh between each role. I think that's obviously necessary, otherwise what's the point? So that's good, obviously, and I'm interested to see how much depth there is in that. And actually, let's go to this point first, because I think this is probably one of the more important points that kind of defines how a season is. So there is a reset between each season. You'll be going back to level 1, which is probably going to set many alarm bells off and people running for the exit. However, I think this will actually be quite beneficial to the game. It's not a complete reset. They do go over more of the details later on, especially in, I think, the second question, which resources will be reset each season. The quick answer is anything big progression-wise on your account is kept, such as hero pools, and the smaller stuff, such as, claiming loads of gold resources, gear, which is, again, going to upset a lot of people, and, yeah, general resources are going to be wiped. So I think everyone goes back to level 1. Your account, all your characters go back to level 1, I believe. and all of your kind of resources that you've been accumulating are wiped, and all your gear, but all of your characters and all of those kind of long-term milestones are kept, as far as I'm aware. But we'll go over that in detail. So that is the reset in game resources, and as you can see, their reasoning is that it is so that they can ensure the gameplay doesn't become stale. Personally, I actually believe them. I buy into it. I think that is a very good justification. If you've been playing gachas for a while, especially if you've been in the gacha for more than 6 months, you're probably just farming for gear drops to get that 2 extra speed roll on one of your pieces so your speed team can work faster, or getting a bit more crit damage or whatever. You're kind of just min-maxing to the absolute fractional amount, and it is pretty stale, and you kind of do it because it kind of becomes a habit, right? Anyway, so that is what is being reset, and this is what we'll be getting when it does reset. So new maps, new stories, new bosses, the new collaboration. So my hope, and this is pure copium, to be fair, I don't think this is going to happen. My hope is that they can bring in new worlds. So my thing where I don't think it will happen is because they say who are visiting Adenphia, which I believe is their world. Wouldn't it be super cool if a season rolled around and it is Strahd? Like, that would be super cool. You know, we're now in Wallachia. The world is Wallachia, and the world boss roaming around is Strahd von Zarevich. I mean, wouldn't that be incredibly fun? You get all your friends in together and you fight Strahd on the world map in Wallachia. You know, that would be so cool. I don't think that's going to happen because they do say Adenphia, but I mean, it does sound like they're opening the path for that, right? I imagine, you know, a new season rolls around, it's a new map, because they do say new maps. But again, I think this is just my copium. But that would be really cool, right? Anyway... so yeah, new content, new crossovers of each season. I think that's awesome. And what most likely this will be is there'll be these limited collaborations. If you want to get Drizzed in one season, he'll be available, and then the next he won't. That's probably more likely what's going to happen, but you never know. So combat companions, players from other planes could join you. From my understanding, this is going to be mainly around the world boss, ancient boss stuff, where you can fight against the big boss that's in the world, and of course arena. Joining you for your adventure in this season sounds like they can join you roaming around your map, but I'm not so certain that is the case. I imagine it will just be for a world boss, but I could be wrong, and it would be really awesome if you could invite a friend into your session or to share your world in some way. That would be really cool, but I doubt it will go that way. Re-rolling, I think some people were unsure about what this meant on the Discord. Very simply, you have a main character that you create yourself in DragonHeir, and you can choose their stats. Stats are determined by their race initially, as with a lot of stuff in D&D, and when you progress through certain milestones in the game, you do gain stat points, so you can place them as you wish. And so simply, I guess, because the resetting is not including that, they've enabled the ability to re-roll. So if you make a hero and you go all in on strength, and you know that serves you really well with certain dice rolls in the open world, but you want to change to intelligence, they've just added a mechanic for re-rolling. I don't know why this is here, to be honest. It doesn't seem like a big thing. It seems like it should just be there. But I mean, it's good. It just allows you a bit more customization over your character. You can re-roll their stats. It's not a one and done type thing. Elemental affinity rotation. I think this is actually really cool. I like this a lot because this will completely change meta every season. At the moment, there is an elemental affinity system. I do have a video on the elemental affinity system, so do check it out if you're interested. Loads of stuff is changing between then and now, and will change a lot more from now until launch as well. Yeah, it's an interesting system. Basically, if you have 3 heroes from the same pairing of elements, so like ice and poison, then you get a bonus, and if you have 5 of those pairing, then you get a bonus. So you can have 4 ice and 1 poison, you know, it doesn't have to be split equally, and you can get a bonus. So that kind of naturally leads you to having to use certain teams, and they'll become very meta heavy teams, right? This will allow them to break it up, because the wheel will probably just rotate a click or something, because it's like an inner and outer wheel. Instead of it being ice and poison, it could be ice and radiant. And now suddenly, you know, the really meta dominant team that people have figured out, where you use, you know, 4 ice heroes and 1 poison hero or whatever, now changes, and now you're going to have to figure it out with different teams. It will massively change team comps. I think it's a really, really good idea. It's a great way to keep things fresh, which this whole seasonal approach seems to be focused on, keeping things fresh. So I'm a huge fan of this so far. I think this is a really good idea, really good decision making. And yeah, we went over the resetting game resources. Anyway, so let's move on to the second part of the question. Let's have a look at this art first, elemental rotation. So yeah, this is what we were just talking about. You can see this is radiant and lightning, and then it will be the necrosis and lightning instead, and all of the others are of course rotating around. It seems they've kind of rotated it counterclockwise, one on the outer elements. Anyway, yeah, I think that's cool. I'm a big fan of that. And this one is no boring grinding, because experience different stories. So yeah, they're changing the stories. That's fine. So, question 2. Which resources will be reset after each season? Answer: we've actually been discussing this for a while, we would hope. At the core of reset is the desire to prevent players getting bored, and I do generally agree with that. giving them the fun of re-rolling and trying out new strategies so the late game doesn't become tedious. I think is the main issue with the vast majority of gachas I've played. The late game almost always becomes super tedious. So the reset rules of this is Season 0, are as follows. This is what is permanently saved between seasons. High value resources purchased or acquired by players, including heroes, artifact, and skill scrolls, will not be reset. So heroes is a given. If they reset that, no one would play the game. Artifacts I'm not super familiar with right now, so I think I know them, and that's good because these are like the more powerful part of your gear equipment, I believe. So I think it's good that they're kept. And skill scrolls, I think again they had to keep these, otherwise it would be a nightmare. So yeah, I think that's fine. I think this is good. I'm happy with this, happy keeping these. I think heroes and skill scrolls are the two big ones, because skill scrolls, from what I'm aware of, are quite tricky to get hold of. So it would be very frustrating if they reset. So I think this is a good amount to save, but more importantly, what are we losing? What is being reset? So seasonally reset, stamina acquired in the current season and resources transmuted from stamina, such as hero upgrade materials, improvement materials, and equipment will all be reset. I think almost no one will have issue with stamina, hero upgrade materials, and improvement materials being reset, because otherwise people can just stockpile them in one season and rinse the next season. If there's any kind of leaderboard, it will be very annoying because someone who's just gamed the previous season will win. I think the one that's going to upset people is equipment. As you know, these games are very stagnant. You spend almost all of your time farming equipment, and no one wants to lose all of their equipment because, hey, that's a lot of work, that's a lot of farming, and really, I don't think anyone has the stomach to lose all that. So before I give my reasons why I think it's okay, let's read the rest of this answer. Of course, while equipment will be reset, there will be new dungeons to undertake and strategies to employ for each new season, ensuring acquiring those materials and equipment won't be as troublesome as in some other similar games. I'm sure we're all fed up of farming instances over and over, only to end up with worthless equipment drops. If you're curious, more detailed reset rules will be found in-game. And so this is the permanently saved versus seasonally reset stuff you can see here. We're in their artwork, which, you know, it's just art, but it looks cool. Anyway, so yeah, I think it's okay because of this paragraph and because of the hope that I'm throwing into this paragraph. So I could be wrong. I accept I could be miles off. The reason I think it might be okay, it sounds like farming gear is going to be a lot nicer. And from what I've personally played of the game, it does seem nicer. When you want to upgrade equipment in DragonHeir, you just select the level and it levels up. You pay the gold and it levels up. You don't have to roll and fail, you know, getting for the final level up for your gear. You just roll it and it succeeds. There is still random elements in which substats roll how much, you know, the distribution of stats. So that's still going to be a pain, but you can craft gear. So you can farm gear and you can craft gear. And when I played it, at least, I didn't really feel like gold was a big bottleneck. And if we were resetting regularly, maybe it won't be. I'm not too sure. I'll be interested to see the details on this. The devil's in the details with this kind of change. But if they do make it so getting decent gear isn't too bad, they do heavily suggest that. I mean, if you look, I'm sure we're all fed up of farming instances over and over, only to worthless equipment drops. I'm assuming this means that we're just more likely to get usable equipment drops. And I don't know about you, I would rather every 3 months I have to farm for, you know, a few days to a week to get some decent gear versus infinitely farming every day of every week to get new gear because I may be getting an incremental upgrade. I believe that this will kind of push away from that meta because say a new season rolls around and you know your gear is going to get reset in 3 months time. Are you going to spend every day of those 3 months farming gear? It's not really worth it, right? You'll be focused more on things that permanently improve your account, such as getting new heroes, or getting more skill scrolls, or focusing on your artifacts, which are kept. So I think it will help break the player mentality of having to farm for marginal gains because we know it's going to get reset, so we'll focus more on these things. And I think it might actually allow us to have some more breathing room to actually enjoy the game. So I think it could work. I think it will require a bunch of tweaking, and it really heavily depends on what implementation the developers take. But fingers crossed, if it doesn't work, they at least listen to us and we can find a healthy middle ground. So I think there's a lot of potential, and I genuinely applaud the developers. They could have gone the copy-paste route and just done everything the same as all of the other games, but they're actually taking some risks, and I think it will pay off for them. I really do. Anyway, question 3. Why do seasons? That seems like a risky decision. It certainly is. Answer. It is certainly risky. But having spent thousands of hours of team RPGs, the development team picked out a few issues. Alongside raising stats over a lengthy period, players wanted to try different team builds, but found it wasn't affordable. Challenging stages became increasingly difficult, and they found themselves expending way too much effort to complete a stage. The longer the game is live, the greater the chasm between the old players and the new players become, and so ever fewer players can stay and play together. The dungeons and bosses never change, the teams barely change, and players end up farming for equipment, an experience which is grindy and tedious. So that's why we aim to solve this problem by making the bold but difficult decision to implement seasons. New seasons mean all new content, brand new goals, and fun gameplay. Resetting stat values lowers the leveling costs and lets players try out a wider range of team builds. Plus, for players who need time away from the game, coming back after a break isn't the end of the world. When a new season begins, everyone is back in the same starting position. Season settlement is a nice justification to shower players with rewards from time to time, but equally we recognise that season is a brand new design, so we are expecting plenty of problems and bugs. That's why we need to run this pilot season 0 to perfect it. Cool, so that's question 3 answered, and let's go over it. This is pretty much why I really agree with the idea and why I'm really excited to see what they do with it. I like the idea that if I decide I don't want to play for a few weeks, or I want to take some time out from the game, I'm kind of burnt, I played too much in the launch month and I want to take a break, but I don't want to be miles behind all my friends in my guild and feel like I just can't get back in the game because I'll never be competitive again. It doesn't matter too much in this game. Yes, you'll lose, your artifacts will be lower, you'll have less skill ups, you'll have some less heroes, but you're not 3 months behind on farming gear, which is incredibly hard to fill. That's a chasm that's so hard to bridge. So I like the fact that you can take time out from the game if you need to. I like the idea that you can try out more team builds, because if I invest really heavily in a bunch of characters and focus on leveling them up, it could suck and I could waste a bunch of resources and time. But hey, it's just a season, right? It will reset and I can do something different in the new season. So it allows you to be a bit more free to try other stuff. I think these are really good suggestions. I think they did a really good job. They definitely took a risk in doing this, and I hope it pays off. I think so far, as you can see, I'm kind of gushing over it. I think it's a great thing. I'm a big fan. I'm really hopeful. So question 4, the final question. Closed Beta Test 2 is the pilot season, Season 0. How will the pilot differ from the official ones? So this is the only issue I take with this entire announcement. I'm not fond of this if it reads the way I believe it does. So this is their answer. Closed Beta Test 2, Season 0, in brackets, is essentially a preview season of the official season, Season 1. Nothing will be deleted. You can make purchases and enjoy a taste of Season 1 content in advance. The primary aim is to verify season gameplay on a small scale. Therefore, Season 0 will only be open for a limited time, limited access as well, so not everyone that applies will get in, so fingers crossed you guys get in. And only in some countries' regions. Season 0 will have the same settlement processes as the official season. Rewards obtained in Season 0, including heroes and artifacts, will also be kept until the official season is released. Season 0 testers will also be rewarded with exclusive commemorative rewards. As for what's to come in Season 1, we're going to leave you hanging and build the suspense. From my belief and from what most people have been saying on the Discord, it sounds like an incredibly niche soft launch, which I think is a very poor idea. This is one where I do take a big issue with the design. I love it when games launch and everyone's just thrown it in the mix and no one knows what the hell's going on and we're all messing about figuring it out and we're all on equal footing. I love that. That's my favorite period in any game's launch, is launch week, where we have no idea what we're doing and everyone is just doing the dumbest stuff. It's so much fun. I really love that window in a game's launch. What this means is that players from certain countries and regions who were fortunate enough to be added into the game and to get access to the closed beta 0 are going to have an advantage, because it reads that it will continue over, right? It says nothing will be deleted, and enjoy a taste of Season 1 content in advance. So it means anyone who gets into Season 0 will have an advantage over the Season 1. So Season 1 is kind of a bit, I don't know, I don't think it's great personally. It depends how long they run this for. It might not be too impactful, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's unnecessary. Just wipe it. I don't think we'll care. We're testers, right? It's called Closed Beta Test 2. Just wipe the whole thing. I don't think anyone will be upset. The one sentence that gives me pause, maybe I could be interpreting this wrong. Rewards obtained in Season 0, including heroes and artifacts, will also be kept until the official season is released. So maybe it is wiped for the season's release, but then isn't that a given if that is the case? This wording is kind of unusual. Anyway, I think it does mean that we will keep everything from this closed beta test into Season 1. Maybe that's not the case. We'll see. But anyway, yeah, that's the recent announcement on the official Discord. There's quite a lot to go over there. I definitely recommend joining the Discord and checking it out for yourself. In the description of this video, I will leave the link to the Discord and the link to the website if you haven't yet subscribed. You've only got around 3 days left, so definitely apply for the closed beta test. I think it's a really fun game from what I've played so far. I think it's going to be huge. I think it's going to be very successful, and I really like that they're taking risks. Anyway, that is pretty much the video. That is all the announcements that have come out today. I'm going to be playing the hell out of this game when it launches. Hopefully, if I get into the closed beta test, I will be playing a lot and making a load of videos, so expect a lot of videos to come on this game. Thank you guys very much for watching. Have a lovely week and take care. Bye bye.